Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. One of the most beneficial things about having this podcast, and I hope you feel the same way as a listener of this podcast, is getting to share stories of mistakes and of triumph within my own business, as well as those I've worked with throughout the years. And there's a lot to learn. And one of the things that comes up for me all the time that I want to share with you is this sort of sentiment of evolution and what got me here won't get me there. And I'll explain. This is the most uncomfortable part of business for me because it's like shedding a skin. It's like stepping into the next chapter. But the best thing I can use to compare it to is when you're about to graduate high school, you're a senior, you think you're hot shit, right? But then you step into freshman year in college and suddenly you're the new kid on campus and you're starting over again. Reputation, familiarity, comfort, and all those things. You're uncomfortable again. And I feel like I'm perpetually in a sophomore state because I feel like I get just enough experience at a certain level and I'm already being asked to graduate. I feel like I can never get comfortable. I don't know if you feel the same way, but you can never get comfortable at a level and just coast for a minute. Like, can I have an easy semester? So what I found is in recent months, in the last year, I feel like we've really honed in the team, we've honed in the product, and we're honing in the branding and the marketing, but it's constantly a tuning that's happening throughout those different areas. And the whole mentality of what got me here won't get me there. It's really challenging to invest so much time in learning how to sell, how to market, how to deliver a product, and then sort of throw it all away and start over every so often with a whole new focus, a whole new angle, a whole new, direction. And that's really hard for me because I tend to hold on to the effort that went in. And I think about how much time I spent on learning marketing, building my website, all those things. And you have this sort of, it's called a sunk cost bias in a sense, but it's really around like, I've spent this much time on this already that I have to stick with it. And that has been the hardest thing for me is knowing that I'm going to have to burn it all and start over every so often. And that's just the best thing for my business because it's going to be so different that it's not salvageable. And it's hard for me. It's almost like a hoarder, right? They don't want to throw anything away. I don't want to throw away all the work that I've done over the years. And I know that I'm not really doing that, but in changing direction and evolving the business, it's become a lot harder to deal with that because it's happening so often. It feels like I'm constantly throwing away and crumpling up what I once considered works of art. So it's hard to then shift into that and evolve so quickly and then realize that something that you drafted that you thought was brilliant is now like that messy first draft. It's like so quick how that changes. And one of the things that has struck me more recently is, there are a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things I once prayed for, things I once added to my, business bucket list, things that I really wanted to be able to do in business that I never did, but I don't want anymore. So the prior evolution of Shannon as a founder wanted, and I no longer want. And I feel this sense of maybe guilt. It's a sense of kind of this like pulling back of like, but this is what you wanted and it's in front of you. Like you should take it because this is what you wanted and it would feel good and it would feel gratifying to finally get the thing that you were striving to get for so long. And it's like, but that does not serve me right now. So it's kind of like, it's the Alanis Morissette song, Ironic, where you go, wait a minute, isn't it ironic that once I step out of needing this, out of wanting this, is when it shows up for me. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's also how you show up I think that what you once wanted, once you've evolved past it, you're at level 3 and what you want is level 2. Once you've evolved past it, it becomes easier to attain and therefore it shows up for you. But when it's easy to obtain and it shows up for you in a weird way, it's like saying, hey, that showed up for you. It means that you need to reach higher. You need to go further and go faster. It's hard because you almost constantly have to create that carrot to dangle and you almost have to not go back and grab the other carrot. And it's a very weird feeling. So there have been opportunities that have come up for me and things that have popped up in my business that I remember saying to myself, oh man, I will be happy when, or, you know, I will enjoy my business more when XYZ happens. And that happened or could have happened. And I'm fine. And I actually am worse off probably by taking those opportunities. There are a lot of more things that I say no to than I did, say, 3 or 4 years ago, and that's a good sign for me.
Hey, did you know that you can actually see my face and watch this episode on YouTube? If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you head over there and you subscribe and check out all of the guest episodes along with some of my solos. We're posting every single week on YouTube. See you there.
Like, in the macro, I always think about the number of things I say no to is a good thing. I want to say no to more things. I wanna be more selective with my time, selective with my yeses, but although we say that in theory, it's tough because you kind of fall back into this mentality of, when is the next opportunity coming? And should I say yes to this? I compare this to Lola, my adopted puppy. Now, she was a stray dog. Well, we think she was a pet who was abandoned. She was on the street and she followed me home. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see a bajillion pictures of this little cutie. And what I noticed with Lola, and still we've had her for over 9 months now. What I noticed with Lola is no matter what I do and no matter how much we love on her and we treat her well, she constantly has this instinct of, I need to savor every bite of food that I can get. She eats very quickly and she's like a bottomless pit. Like, she will eat anything that looks kind of like food because she still has this instinct in her that if she sees something that looks like food, number one, she'd better eat it because she doesn't know where her next meal is coming from. And number two, she better eat it damn fast because there's other dogs that are going to come and get it from her and probably bully her because she was very timid. So she has these two very, very deep rooted instincts of eat everything and eat it now. What part lab doesn't, right? But in particular, she's definitely very on top of this thing with food. She's very territorial with food. Um, and I think that's behavioral. But I bring that up to say in business, we can be like this, where we say yes to everything because we remember the days when yeses were hard to come by. And we remember the days when, every yes was an opportunity and that we were hustling. We were in the hustle phase. And I think that, like, there's no friggin' diploma, there's no graduation out of that. So you don't really have a signal or a sign that you're out of that. You kind of just have to, like, trust your instincts on this and say, I just can't say yes to as many things anymore. I have to be more selective. And you typically get to that point by saying yes too much and then realizing that you have a limit. So you almost have to have like indigestion, right? To realize you're eating too much. So the problem is that a lot of us, myself included, will feel bad saying no to opportunities sometimes when you're in that growth, because even though every opportunity could be good, you start realizing there's an opportunity cost of spending your time in one place versus another. And it's a really important thing to acknowledge that by saying yes to one thing, you're actually saying no to something else. And every yes is actually a no. And when you realize that you're not just saying yes in a vacuum, it really puts things in perspective. For example, I am currently in Florida on a business trip to visit a client. And by saying yes to doing this, I'm saying no to staying home with my family or taking care of Lola. And luckily, Jason is taking care of that and watching her. But, you know, by saying yes to one thing, you are saying no to something else. By saying yes to a client, you're saying no to maybe another client that maybe wants to work with you or will want to work with you, or no to a little extra free time in the upcoming month for onboarding. So you have to be aware of the balance of what it is that you're agreeing to and what it is you're maybe implicitly turning down. And what I wanted to share through today's episode is really about understanding that when you go through these evolutions, when you grow as a business owner, this is hard. It is hard. It's hard to make decisions. It's hard to say yes and no. The best thing you can do is really foster that instinct and, become more selective about these things. But it is hard to say no. And it's also especially hard to say no to things that you once prayed for, the things that you once wished would happen to you. They will happen to you. And sometimes it's too late for it to really matter for you. And it kind of sucks, So what I want to remind you of is that you have no obligation, you have no commitment to your former self. You have a commitment to your future self. The commitment you have is to the next evolution of you, not the past one. So please do not make decisions on that sunk cost bias. Do not do the things that you think you want because you once wanted it in the past. Do the things that you need to do for your business today. Do the things that you want to do for your business in the future. Do the things today that will cultivate that future for you. And stop dwelling on, the things that you once wanted in the past, because believe it or not, it's probably going to just drag you back there. So, that's my internal dialogue happening, but also just something I wanted to share that I've gone through in my business several times as I kind of shed these skins and grow. And I know that my clients do as well. So I know you're going to find that helpful, and maybe you can relate to that too.
Okay, so if you've been listening to the show for a while, I love talking about profit and cash flow. But if you've mastered these things, the next level thing to be focused on is your customer value. If you have to constantly hustle to sell more and hit your revenue goals, it's important to think about how you can deliver more value, build retention, and maximize the lifetime profitability of every customer. When you invest in a power session, we're able to dive into your customer acquisition cost and determine some personalized strategies to decrease your costs and increase the lifetime value of your customers. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.